All right, I want you to picture this. Let's say you're some kid with spiky hair. All right, now let's say you have a giant key as a weapon in your hand. Okay, that's a little peculiar, but I can live with that. Now let's say you have Donald Duck and Goofy fighting manifestations of darkness by your side. Yup, you know what's happening. You're having a fever dream at 2 in the morning. Nah, you're just the main character of a cool but weird little game called Kingdom Hearts. Now, today I'm going to tell you about the strange mishmash of a game Kingdom Hearts is. The three things I'm going to be talking about are the general plot and storyline, specific things like the worlds and characters you get to see, and a little bit of the enemy, and my personal feelings about the game. So, to start it off, Kingdom Hearts was released in March of 2002, and as of thus far, I think still very good for a game that came out, 18 years ago. But that's besides the point. I'm going to explain the plot in a very general sense because explaining the whole plot would simply take way too long, and Lord knows I don't have time for that. So basically, you're this spiky-haired kid named Sora who lives on an island with his friends Riku and Kairi. And through a weird turn of events, he ends up having to go through all these Disney worlds and meeting all these Final Fantasy characters in order to beat the darkness and save something called Kingdom Hearts. Now, if I were to get into the specifics of the game, it'd be weird because it's like, obviously you got Disney characters fighting off darkness creatures, you got dudes inside of dudes, you even got a girl inside of a dude at some point. Nah, I'm just exaggerating. The game is rated E for everyone. I assure you. But the story is kind of long and it might be confusing. It might even be cringe, but it's definitely going somewhere and you should stick around to hear about that. And as for the story, actually, I'm now going to explain the specifics of the game, like the worlds and the characters you get to meet and visit. And you get to meet a whole assortment of classic Disney characters, such as Aladdin, Jack Skellington, Tarzan, Hercules, Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And you also get to travel to their respective worlds, like Tarzan's Deep Jungle, Olympus Coliseum, Halloween Town, Agrabah. You get to meet Peter Pan, Captain Hook over at Neverland. And you also get to hear each movie's respective soundtracks. An example being... My phone's slow. But that's besides the point. Anyways, you do get to meet some Final Fantasy characters, like I said, but honestly, I find them kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and Final Fantasy is like a niche game. Not too many people outwardly know about it, so you don't gotta worry about those guys. And as for the enemies, the creatures of darkness, they're called Heartless, and some of them have pretty cute designs. Except certain ones. We don't talk about those certain ones. Anyways, I'd like to think that the game and its story and everything about it has held up pretty well thus far. And that brings me into my last topic, how I personally feel about the game. And you could say that because I was a wee lad when I was playing it, so you could say that I'm a little bit biased, and maybe I have nostalgic memories of it, which I guess I do have. But like I said, I would argue that the game has held up pretty well, even in today's standards, and even in back then standards. And the game itself, you can't describe the emotion, or not the emotion, you can't describe the experience you feel or the experience you have when playing the game, because it makes you feel so many emotions and like so many things that live in your mind rent free. And sometimes you'll be like, yo, other times you'll be like, aw. Sometimes you'll be laughing. A couple times you'll be crying. A few times you'll be absolutely furious. But that is besides the point. The game itself has a very enriched atmosphere and aesthetic, if you will. And it's just how each Disney world is portrayed in their own special way. And it's just very interesting and very enriching, to say the least, to just get to see and go dig into each world that you've seen in the movies. And I'm not gonna lie, like, after Kingdom Hearts, there's like 14 other games in the series, and it'd be best to just play like the first one if you even do want to play it, and then maybe the second one if you feel so inclined. But other than that, the other 14 make it all complicated, and I don't recommend it. If you like the first game, just play the second one, leave it at that, pretend the others don't exist. But nowadays, you can't really expect people to be able to have the time to play a game, like a full story game like that. So I don't know. Look up a full movie playthrough of Kingdom Hearts. Very nice. But to wrap it up, the game I recommend. Even though, like I said, I might be biased, I definitely recommend. And in conclusion, maybe you'd want to experience the spiky-haired kid's journey yourself. Maybe you'd like to fight by Donald Duck and Goofy. Maybe you just like to listen to the music. But I have a motto for Kingdom Hearts. I would say it's not for everybody, but it's for anybody. That's just how I feel. Thank you all for listening, and have a good day.